What is going on, y'all? This is the Caveman. I'm here with Football with Oz Austin for episode 59 of Against the Blitz. And right before the season starts, we are doing another mailbag episode inside our Discord, which you should join, link down in the description. We send out a message every so often letting everybody know that we are taking questions, any sort of takes, any sort of predictions that anybody in the Discord has, and reacting and answering them here in an episode. This is the second time we've done something like this. We did it for like episode 50 and it went very well. So we figured we'd staple one more down before things get underway. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I am coming into this completely blind. Last time I was the one that picked and read the questions, and Caveman reacted to them. And now he is the one that sifted through the questions and is going to be reading them off. And they are all completely new to me. I did not look at a single one. I did zero prep work. I have no other screens up except for just this one. So I'm excited to hear your guys' just raw takes.
Yeah, we do have a few of them, and I'm going to try my best to categorize them and keep the conversation going because people had takes that aligned with each other or others that were inadvertently like a debate, and then we can kind of carry it on for them. So we'll start with what I named the Cardinals propaganda category, which was very odd to see so much Cardinals discourse from a few individuals. So
I don't think there's any Cardinals fans in there either, not that I know of. So
no, and that was the funny thing. The first take we had was from Jalen Waddle, and he's a Dolphins fan, of course, but he said out of nowhere, the Cardinals are going to win 10 games and are playoff bound, and their defense will be much improved.
I can get down with a good part of that. I mean, I think that I had them at 8 to 9 wins. I think I had 7 to 9. So if they happen to, catch fire, if the Marv connection works, if a few things work, I mean, it's not the craziest thing to think they can squeeze into the playoffs. I do agree with the second part too, that the defense is heavily improved. I think everywhere but linebacker, I would say they have at least a solid front. So I can get down with it. I can see the vision. My only gripe is that I think that their division is just too good. With the Seahawks and the 49ers at full health and the Rams, I think they're going to have a hard time getting to 10 and getting into the playoffs. But I like the spirit of the take. I think they've been pretty underrated this whole offseason.
Yeah, we've said it a few times. It's just there's not much that's been said. We haven't heard much about that team over the last couple of months, but that's kind of what also surprised me with the amount that people were talking about them, because another individual, his name was Ribsy, was also supported by someone named Leo, and they equally were agreeing that the Cardinals could start off the season strong. And Ribsy said that they can start like 7-1 in their first 8.
7-1.
Leo was saying that he wouldn't be shocked if they went 5-0 to start. So I had to pull up their schedule.
Yeah, let me do that really quick. Cardinals, because it's been a long time since we've really seen anyone but a powerhouse start off that hot. So they start off week 1 with the New Orleans Saints. We can chalk that one now. That's a W. Week 2, they get the Panthers. I can also see a pretty easy avenue for a win there. Week 3 and 4, they get the 49ers and the Seahawks, which I think we can both agree could both be pretty tough games for them. But, I mean, they're divisional games. Anything can happen. Week 5, week 5, Titans. Week 6, Colts. Those two teams are very beatable. 7 is the Packers. That's like the first team that I'm gonna stop them there. But, like, 49ers, Seahawks, and Packers are the only teams that I think will beat the Cardinals. That's 3. But like if they, win two or one of those 3 hard games, they could have a really, really nice record.
Yeah, we talked about like the 49ers in our NFC predictions episode having a super easy schedule, but the Cardinals also kind of start off pretty soft. And I had no idea until they started talking about it. And the Cardinals last year were a team that were giving the tougher squads a run for their money, because they were running the ball so damn well. And if they get back to that and James Conner's playing at a top 10 back level like he was, especially, mid to the end of last season, then I guess I have to say I can understand where this is coming from. It's not the most insane thing I've ever heard. I guess
think it would have been insane if you just said that and then happened to look at the schedule, because normally this is not a team that can just beat 8 teams in a row. But if you happen to look at their schedule, seeing that they play the literal worst 8 teams in a row, and then they have the Niners and the Seahawks. It's a good take. It's a fair take, and I think it's inspirational to anybody that drafted any Cardinals players to their fantasy team. James Conner stocks, Trey McBride stocks, they're up. They are up.
Oh yeah, early on those might be great sell
trade them
highs.
Yep.
Yep. By midseason, because their bye week is 8. Then in week 9 they get the Cowboys, which I think they could take. They get Seattle and San Francisco back to back again, and then they go to they host Jacksonville, Tampa, Rams, Texans, Falcons, Bengals, Rams. So it goes from easy to impossible.
The end is tricky, but the beginning, that's why I think that I overall ended up saying they probably won't win more than 8 or 9. Was kind of my ceiling for them. But with how many playmakers they have, Kyler and Marv and McBride and James Conner, and an improved defense. If we see some serious strides from Marv and McBride keeps doing his thing, and Kyler looks like he started actually caring, this could be a really good offense.
Yeah, and
one to a good defense.
Definitely, yeah, one that can control the clock too. That'll be the important thing, and that's how they get teams like the Bengals to be in closer matchups with them, because they're keeping Joe Burrow and company off the field. So who knows? I mean, like I said, I don't think it's the most insane thing when you put it into context. But
no,
the final piece of this came from Ribsy also. He was pretty active throughout the course of the last 48 hours with all of this. He said that Will Johnson wins Defensive Rookie of the Year. So I would love to know the odds on that.
I mean, I had him as one of my favorite players in the entire draft. I think I had him as my 6th overall prospect. So I'm down for it. But it's very rare to win this award if there's also a really good pass rusher. Sauce Gardner won this without any real production, but he was locked down. And there wasn't really anybody else that was going nuts. It was him versus Tariq Woolen was the big race. But if guys like Abdul Carter or Mike Green, any of these guys have really good seasons, even Travis Hunter, if he plays some defense, it'll definitely be hard if Will Johnson's not getting a bunch of turnovers. So it's possible. And he's a big name. But I don't think I'm buying it if Abdul Carter plays a full season.
No, I don't think I could either. It would take everything to go right, not just for Will Johnson, but for the rest of the defense, which we already, although feel confident in, still have some unknowns. There's still a lot to wonder. And if you're putting Will Johnson in this situation that isn't the Denver Broncos unit, for example, with how Surtain has been able to excel, it's not guaranteed to go very well for him. Even if he's playing individually solid football, that doesn't mean he's going to produce nearly enough or impact the game nearly enough to be Defensive Rookie of the Year with his competition,
right?
Across the board too. So we'll have to pump the brakes on that one.
But it's possible. These have all been, not that hot. They've all been reasonable.
Will Johnson, plus 2,500, plus 3,000. I mean, yeah, he's one of the bottom options.
That's a little dramatic. I mean, I would take him probably over a few of those guys that are on that list. I'm not entirely sure who's on that list, but
last updated yesterday. He is tied in odds with guys like Carson Schlesinger.
Hey, he could win it too.
He is near Ezeraku. Jade Barron is slightly higher than him. Shamar Stewart's down here too. Wow, I'm kind of surprised by that. But Michael Williams is too high. No way Michael Williams
No,
Top five. No
I
way.
if you're an edge rusher, you have to have near double-digit sacks, or you have to be doing what Jared Verse was doing
Yeah.
and just put together ridiculous pressure numbers over and over again. So, I mean, if I had to pick somebody, it's going to be like even like a James Pierce, I think could do it. Somebody that could just get crazy numbers out of nowhere. Yeah, like a Shamar Stewart, even if he's impactful, I don't think he'll have the numbers to back it up. Same with Will Johnson. I think he could be impactful, but just won't have the numbers to back it up.
Yeah, I agree. Well, the Cardinals were not the only team-specific category that I ended up creating. And I'll segue that into the Panthers discourse that kind of was sparked through this. Yeah, I know.
Oh my God.
I also rolled my eyes. So we had
They're going to beat me up again.
well, we have both sides of the spectrum. So on one hand, we have Stranger who says the Carolina Panthers will win about 10 games, winning the NFC South, and they will win in the first round of the playoffs.
You said 10, like with a 1 and a 0?
Yes, I did.
Double-digit wins for them.
And that's well, I'll just put this out there now. Michael Penix, this is an actual individual. If you've noticed, he actually exists. We don't just say Michael Penix.
He pops up like once an episode.
Yep. He also said shortly after, the Panthers are starting to get to be an overrated team. So
I'm much closer to the second one than the first one. I mean, double-digit wins, man. Like, you have teams like the Bengals struggling to get double-digit wins. And I would definitely say, aside from defensive coordinators, they're not that different on paper. Like, the Panthers do not have a very good defense on paper. Like, you're relying on guys like Nick Scott, like, to be impactful starters on your team. Like, the only way you have a good pass rush is if Nick Scorton and Princely Umenwielen both are, like, high-impact players. And Nick Scorton just punctured his lung or whatever, collapsed his lung.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you're going to have someone like Trevin Wallace become like an impact starter. And then you also need your offense to like be really good all of a sudden. And your only hope at that was like Jalen Coker and Xavier Legette both becoming really good players. Then Jalen Coker just goes on the IR and Xavier Legette actually is not that good. So, like, they don't have a tight end. The offensive line is average. Bryce Young is maybe average. We don't really know yet. I don't see any reason that this team is a 10-win team at all.
There's no basis to it.
Like, what is the argument? Like, are we pointing to the passing game, the rushing game, the run defense, the pass defense? Like, what is it?
Well, this is something that we talked about before. It just feels like there's no identity to this team. It feels like I don't see the vision or the path that they're trying to go down. And they were last year a run first offense. They were really finding a rhythm with Chuba, and they extended him. And it feels like that's the direction they're trying to go into or go toward. And then they go and take, the receiver at 8th overall. And it's like, okay, yeah, it was a need, but was it an 8th overall need? We've had that conversation. But at the basis of it, this is such a flawed team talent-wise. There is just it's either you have a well-rounded squad or you have like a few stars, like the Cowboys, for example. They have a few stars. The rest of it's got some flaws, but they did have a few stars. They traded one.
Now they might have a handful still, but
yeah,
they're all on offense.
Right. But you get it. It's either you're one or the other, and the Panthers are neither. So what's the attraction?
They have a ton of holes, but like their stars they're relying on are like Chuba Hubbard, who's awesome, but like it's Chuba Hubbard. JC Horn, who's played like one full season in like 8 years, it feels like. And then Tet McMillan, a rookie, and Bryce Young, who is still basically kind of a rookie, it feels like. So I don't know. I mean, their division sucks. There is a chance they could just pull some stuff out of their butt and find a way to, pray their way to 10 wins. But like, I'm taking the field. I am taking Michael Penix's his side, and they are becoming an overrated team because they're so easy to root. They're so easy to root for with Bryce and Canales, and like everyone on the team is so much fun. But fun doesn't get you wins.
No,
like it's just not a thing.
No, it doesn't. And I absolutely fall in line with the same thinking as Michael. It's just also is confusing to me when, to be fair, they're not one of the only teams that made a confusing move at this like last second deadline, if you will, right before the season. But they had to know Jalen Coker was going to go on IR. I certainly fucking didn't because I've been drafting a shit
They didn't
ton
tell
of him.
me.
No,
Yeah.
heard nothing about it. And I get this notification. I'm like, oh, cool. There goes like my favorite sleeper of the entire season for 4 weeks. But he goes to IR and they trade Adam Thielen, like 4 days before that? Like they could have just kept Thielen, the only receiver Bryce has ever been able to connect with in his first 2 seasons. So that's also confusing. I have no faith, but zero at all.
I mean, you're just counting on everybody becoming good. Like you're counting on Xavier Legette being good. You're counting on Ted McMillan being really, really good. You're counting on like Jatavion Sanders to be a difference maker. Like, and then you're counting on Bryce Young to be more than just slightly below average, which he's kind of been. Even when he was at his peak, he was just maybe slightly above an average quarterback. It wasn't like he wasn't putting on clinics. It was just like he was finally looking like he belonged here. So I think when you're just now reaching that point, there's still a long way to go before you're truly taking over games and winning 10 of them.
Yeah, 10. Like not like we're not even in the not even talking about building momentum here. We're talking about like, reaching like the mountaintop.
7 to 8 would have been like such an awesome milestone after how bad they were last year. Like it would have been like a yay, like we're improving, we're seeing improvement, we're knocking on the door of the playoffs if we just gain, a couple more defensive playmakers, maybe another receiver. But instead it was just like, no, this is it now. We're in it now. Like we're gonna win a playoff game. How's that gonna happen?
It's like trying to fit. It's like people are trying to fit them in the timeline of a team that was supposed to be like on the upswing, but they don't. They haven't started the upswing yet. So despite the fact that we're 3 years into Bryce's career, Canales has been around for a bit. It feels like they should be at that point, but they're not. And just because it's been that amount of time doesn't mean it's just going to happen because
it's a slow burn.
Right.
Slow burn.
Well, let's move on to more NFC talk. So this is an NFC North debate with all of the, action that's gone on in this division lately. There were some takes, of course. And the first one, definitely a few of these takes were had. Caleb Johnson Truther first says, with the addition of Micah, the Packers win the NFC North.
It's not crazy. No. I mean, they only had like 2, maybe 3 things that they really had to address this offseason because they are a pretty well-rounded team, and it was pass rush, it was the corner room, and it was offensive weapons. And I think that they addressed weapons with Matthew Golden. If he can be, worthy of a first-round pick, they're an improved team. And then they heavily addressed pass rush by adding Micah Parsons to like a reasonable squad now, like Rashawn Gary, Lucas Van Ness, and then Micah Parsons. Now it's a really good group. And then the only real weakness left is corner. But like, if that's your only weakness, it could be way worse, especially if your safeties and your edge rushers are so good. So I can buy it. I can buy it, but I'm also buying other teams maybe a little bit more than them.
It still doesn't feel real, man. Like, oh my God, just thinking about it is insane. It's so aggravating watching other people live your dream. And that's how it feels being a Bills fan, just watching this Green Bay Packers team that feels like they're on the door. They need that one more, that next piece, that final piece to kind of get them over the hump. And it sucks. But it's awesome at the same time because now this is a football team that I think is going to be really just exciting. Like anytime the Packers are on a football field, it's going to be fun. Like because Jordan Love is crazy and a maniac playing his position. And then you have, when the defense is out there, Micah Parsons, it's just always going to be fun to watch Green Bay. And it does make their defense obviously sound better. But when you take Rashawn Gary and company and you put them in the context of being the supporting cast instead of the, A team, then it feels so much safer. It feels so much better.
Oh my God. Like
it actually feels great.
Edgerrin Cooper, Xavier McKinney, the other really good safeties like Evan Williams and Bullard. Like this is a squad, like a legit squad, and that for some reason they could not find an edge rusher. Like they were dipping into the first round, drafting Lucas Van Ness. So they're like, okay, maybe our first round picks are worthless if we can't draft with them. So let's just trade 2 of them and a 30-year-old defensive tackle for like one of the best players on the planet. And they were like kind of jokingly like sending their friend like a fantasy trade request, like, let's see if he bites 2 first. And what Kenny Clark? We were about to cut him. And then they actually accepted it like on accident. And like Jamal Adams went for more than this like 5 years ago. I don't understand how like the trade value hasn't gone up for a more premium position and a better player. Like even with hindsight, Jamal Adams was never as good as Micah Parsons is like right now.
No.
And safety is a much less premium position than edge rusher. So I don't understand how like their trade package looks so similar. If it's a top 10 player in the NFL at 26 years old to a team that beats your ass in the playoffs every single year. Like I don't like that's awful.
Well, Liam Cohen worshiper also said, hot take, Packers win the NFC and go to the Super Bowl. And I wanted to use that to segue into the Jordan Love conversation because I feel like this is something that I've been thinking about since the Micah Parsons trade went down. And that's like, what does this do for Jordan Love? Like on one hand, it's like, okay, now this team looks like they're ready to go. But on the other hand, now Jordan Love is probably going to be out of excuses. You know, he went through the development period. He's been a starter for a couple of years now. It's time for him to really step up and do his job. There's no more, you don't have a receiver. There's no more, they don't have a pass rush. It's going to be, can Jordan Love not be insane? And can he operate the offense that he's been, I think he's been given a pretty, what word do I want to use? Like manageable scheme to work with. Like he's not having to drop back and do everything. Like he is getting a lot of help with the way that they've structured the offense. So he just has to do his job. Can he do it?
Especially bringing in Josh Jacobs last year. Malik Willis came in and actually looked like they were operating a similar offense. And Jordan Love, I think his best football is still ahead of him. I don't think that he has done his best yet. I think that could be this year or next or the year after that. But you're right. Like there's done with excuses. Like they gave you a first round pick. You have good depth at receiver. You have an awesome tight end, a good line, a good defense, a good coach, a good running back. Like at this point, it's just like the dumb turnovers and really big moments need to stop. Like we need to be hitting passes that need to be hit. And as much as I love a gunslinger, like fuck it style, like it doesn't always produce results until you can hone it in. Like Josh Allen, like it was a problem for a while. It was amazing because it was like the most fun football in the world to watch, but he also lost games that he didn't need to because he was dumb at one point. But with all that talent, he honed it in and is now, even though he's putting out worse production, he's a much better quarterback than he ever used to be. So I think that there still is like room for that with Jordan Love, even though it's not the same level of talent. But if we can kind of see that with better receivers and a really good scheme that LaFleur is putting together, I think that he has the talent to take them that far.
I do too. I think the talent is there. I, for some reason, have been thinking that it just won't happen though. There's just something inside of me that feels slightly more pessimistic about Jordan Love reaching that ceiling. And I think it really does just come down to what the offense was for him last year and him still having the same issues that you shouldn't be having when you're given what's the word I want to use? Like
a leash,
manageable,
like a long leash. Oh, you're talking about like just like the supporting cast that he has.
He's just not asked to do very much. Like you have to make one big decision every drive, and
but he's not a manager. Like he is a playmaker. Like he is like a ceiling raiser, but it's just like he plays within a really really sharp scheme with LaFleur, and there are constantly guys schemed open. Like there are like it seems like they know what they're doing, no matter what quarterback you put in there. And Jordan Love does raise that offense. Like he is much better than Malik Willis, obviously. But it's an offense that a lot of quarterbacks can win with, and I think the issue is that he just hasn't won anything serious with it yet. But they've came close, and I don't think that he was the worst thing. I don't think he was the reason they lost in the playoffs last year. Wasn't his best game, but he was playing the Avengers and the Eagles, and the rest of his team gave him no help. So I'm not closing the door on him yet. I've been a little bit down on him because I think that he's been a little bit overhyped so far for his career. But that is also why I'm saying I think his best football is still ahead of him, because I think that he can climb into that top 10.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I hope. I think the Packers would be a fun team to watch win something, I guess. I don't have anything against Green Bay. They give that
I love
Billsy like type fan base feel. Like I could root
They
for
are
Green
the
Bay.
the NFC Bills. Like it's like the cold weather, like not a humongous city, but not a humongous market. It's just the most loyal fans in the world, and generally have the same expectations every single season at this point. So I don't know. I've been a Packers fan for a long time. They've been always in my top 3 teams, but I just want to see it. I just want to see it happen so bad. And I do think that this Micah trade will boost them possibly multiple wins than I had them before.
Yeah, I mean, I think winning the NFC North is more than possible now.
Yes,
and
yes, 100%.
I wouldn't be shocked if we did see them in the NFC Championship game. Like, it depends what happens in the rest of the division specifically, because that's pretty much where a lot of the other firepower is. But the kid, another Discord member, still believes that the Lions will continue and not skip a beat after the pieces they've lost this offseason and go for the number 1 seed in the NFC again.
Oh, in the whole NFC.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm buying that over Philly, but I do think that this is still, after the coaches are gone, after the interior offensive line is gone, I still think that if everybody's healthy, this is still a top 3-4 roster in the NFL altogether. Like, they don't have a bad position group really anywhere. And you can maybe point to the interior offensive line, but I like those guys they brought in to replace. So as long as like the new coaching staff they bring in aren't complete like dummies, I think that any coaching staff can get a lot out of the star power of players on that team.
Agreed. And I used to have, I mean, like last year, for example, when the Bucs transitioned from Canales to Cohen, I was hesitant. I still feel the same, but I have a lot more confidence in believing that the front office, the general manager, they know who they're promoting internally. It's intentional. They have confidence in the guys. It's even happened here in Buffalo to some extent, even though, Ken Dorsey was fired ultimately. But nonetheless, an internal hire came through, and Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell, I do trust their judgment, and the guys that they are promoting are not going to be like, what happened with Brian Johnson, for example, which I almost feel like was a one-off, like very odd. That was a very odd thing to go wrong. Like, out of all of the organizations to have internal hiring to go on with how successful they've been, in their additions in the draft and in free agency, it was weird to see that 1 year go so haywire. But
it was
outside of that, I do trust that if they went through that same process, the Eagles would get it right. The Lions are another team I trust to get their internal hires right. So I feel like I still am I'm just not going to think about it as being such a net negative.
No, I mean, obviously it does matter.
Yeah.
Obviously it's a big deal, but I think a lot of times it just like, especially in the playoffs, like it felt like they were just getting too cute at times. And there is something to embracing, like keeping a lot of the same identities that Ben Johnson was able to bring, because he did, like cause defensive coordinators nightmares sometimes. Like, there are some times where he would just beat the shit out of you and you could do nothing to stop it. But there's also times where like his cuteness just did not work, and they didn't have like what felt like a true like drop back passing offense to execute through, and that did hurt. So I think that if like a more traditional coaching staff could develop a little bit more of that into Jared Goff's game, into Amon-Ra St. Brown's game, and Jameson Williams' game, it could still be an awesome offense, just in a different way.
I think if the kid's prediction comes true, I think we'll have a lot more questions about Ben Johnson than we will about, what else is going on in Detroit. And not in a bad way, of course, but I think that would say a lot more about Brad Holmes and, maybe Dan Campbell than
100%.
it would about what we thought Ben Johnson or what we think Ben Johnson is currently. I mean, we've been acting like he's the second coming for the last, few months pre and post hire. So he deserves the praise, but that would be something. I'm not buying it, but I'm not out entirely.
Fair. Yeah.
And then Leo chimed in and he had to get the Vikings in on the conversation. He said the Vikings win the North. They were 14-3 the previous year. Their defense got better. Their line got better. And Darnold is just not that good, which I think means he's insinuating that McCarthy will be better. If Darnold could do it, McCarthy's going to raise the floor even more.
I think people overestimate what new quarterbacks can do. And I think that they underestimate what previous quarterbacks just did for them. Because, yeah, you can say he was a KOC, product, and he was only good because of him. But Darnold played very good football last season. Like, it wasn't just the fact that he was hitting wide open guys all the time. Like, he was delivering really good footballs on a week-to-week basis. And I feel like Vikings fans just pissing him away, saying it's McCarthy time, isn't like, I wouldn't go that far. Like, to me, when I was trying to decide if I preferred Darnold or McCarthy, it was a big question. And it was mostly just a money question. Like, McCarthy's just cheaper. Mm-hmm. That was really all I had, because I think that Darnold was still really good for that offense. And McCarthy is as unknown of a prospect as you possibly can have, because he didn't even execute a passing offense at Michigan, really. Like, it was a very, very simple scheme. And he wasn't very productive. So I am very curious going into an offense with as much offensive star power as they have. Like, does he have the capabilities to deliver the football like Sam Darnold did? And I'm going to say no. I'm going to say he doesn't have the same capabilities year one. So I wouldn't go as far to say that McCarthy is like a reason that they're any better than they were last season.
Yeah, I think people just see these 6'3", how tall is McCarthy? 6'2", 6'3".
6'2", 6'3", yeah.
Darnold's probably in that range also, maybe
Same
slightly
height, yeah.
taller. They see these white 6'2", 6'3" quarterbacks that play under center, and they're like, yeah, just swap one in with the other, and it's going to look the same, or, it might look better. But it's not always that easy, especially when a guy like J.J. McCarthy is not a rookie anymore. He's a second-year player that is coming off of a torn was it a meniscus or something like that?
I don't really know what it was, but it is worrisome regardless, when a lot of his success comes from his mobility. Mm-hmm. And to have an injury like that, even if he's capable, you can't imagine he would want to go use his mobility all that often with how bad of an injury he had to end his entire season in 2024. So definitely couldn't get too farther play styles from McCarthy to Sam Darnold. Mm-hmm. So, and I think that we've talked about it before, praising Jordan Mason. This is going to be a very different looking offense. Like, the scheme, the production, who's going to be getting the ball more, everything will look very different. And it looked that way in preseason. So I think the defense and the offensive line absolutely could get you there. But yeah, I'm not buying that McCarthy would be the reason that they're any better than before. I think it would be the offensive line, if anything.
I think bottom line, if you told me that Darnold and McCarthy were the same price going forward or the same age, you remove all of the other variables and you just look at who they are as quarterbacks for the next 3 or 4 years, I think everybody in the right mind should be taking Darnold.
Dude, they're nuts. Like, people hate Darnold. Like, they think he's legitimately bad. Like, anytime I talk about the Seahawks, they're like, no, they have Darnold. Not possible. Yeah. He literally just did it. And then they're like, oh, he was a KOC product. He has another good offensive coordinator. And, like, I think people overvalue play callers way too much. Like, the execution of the product has to happen. And they have 4 quarters and 17 games. Like, it's not like he's getting lucky over and over and over again. Like, at a certain point, when you produce, like, that's just your talent. And he was very, very talented last season. And you can say a lot of that, like, comes from a better scheme that fitted his play style, sure. But he did all the work.
Mm-hmm. I think people confuse the evaluation of players from like a pure ranking standpoint, and then like the evaluation or the projection of a team or a player. Because I think they look at like Darnold as an individual in a vacuum, and they're like, yeah, maybe he isn't the best quarterback. And then they also apply that to what Darnold might look like in this Clint Kubiak offense. It's not the same. Like you can normalize the fact that support is okay. Like he has a good offensive coordinator. He is in a system that works. Just because he might not be good as an individual in your perspective doesn't mean it can't be made to work. Like there's a difference between the two. And I think people let those things collide way too often. If we look at Darnold in a system instead of Darnold as an individual, which we do when we're just like purely ranking quarterbacks all the time or running backs or whatever, then we would be able to get a clearer picture, or more people would be on the same page, I should say.
Agreed.
So, yeah, it is. Darnold is a very controversial topic for no reason. But that will bring us to the AFC East topics that we have. A few of these came up, and some Patriots conversation, which I'm looking forward to having. Jalen Waddle makes another appearance. He says the Patriots will not meet expectations and win just 7 games.
That feels reasonable. And I think that should just be closer to their expectation. And I think that expectation is backed up by Vegas, is it not? Like, aren't they projected in that ballpark?
I think it's 8.5.
8.5. That feels way too much. I mean, especially because they had the Panthers so low, and they're a better team than the Panthers. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like 7, 8 games, like that feels pretty reasonable for them. So if that's their expectation, yeah, I think that they exactly meet expectations. But I think all this wild card team take, it's a little bit too hot. So I do agree with the take. They are being a little bit too excited by the media. And I think that if the expectations are a little bit more reasonable in that, 6, 7, 8 win kind of area, I can get down with it. I think they're an awesome team, and I love a lot of the additions that they just did. They're just still too green. Like they have a new head coach, a very young quarterback, a very, very brand new, like receiving core, running back room, offensive line, everything's brand new. So I think it'll just take time to mesh. I think if you ask me about their season next year, sure, I think they could be a wild card team next season with some new additions. But as they sit right now, not quite.
Yeah, Landon feels the opposite. He says the Patriots make the playoffs behind an explosive second year from Drake Maye. I'm not sure I would classify much about that offense as being explosive other than maybe Henderson. I'm not sure where else the explosiveness is really coming from.
I think there's a lot. It's just like there's a lot of hives within that team. Like people really think that Kyle Williams is going to come in and be a game changer off the bat. And I kind of just had him more as a solid day 2 prospect. But there's a lot of people that think that he will come in and be a 1,000-yard level guy off the bat. A lot of people think that Stephon Diggs will just return completely to form. A lot of people think Drake Maye will just come in and be Justin Herbert immediately. And even then, Justin Herbert-led teams are like barely making the playoffs. Like there's just levels to being a good team versus a playoff team. Like there's a big difference. So I'll have to say I'm out.
I think Chris Sims definitely did that for Kyle Williams.
Oh my God,
he did generational. He did generational inflation numbers on Kyle Williams stock.
I think he'll be good. Like he's a good player, but like they're just like, oh my God, he's already a top 5 like receiver 2 in the NFL. Like people are putting labels on this guy. Like he's going to come in and just be like Jordan Addison plus. And I can't buy it.
Yeah, when in all reality, it's going to be Matt Collins rolling out there, and they're going to be in 12 personnel. Matt Collins going to be the second receiver. Yeah, exactly.
Matt Collins, that'll be my take. I think Matt Collins will outsnap him by like significant numbers.
Oh yeah, I think so too. Especially at what, 10 mil for 2 years? That's a pretty
the blocking that dude has. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, he'll be out there. Sorry, Patriots fans. Well, the other AFC East topic was something that we've talked about frequently enough, but Michael Penix comes back and says Brandon Beane's shortcomings of a GM finally catch up to him, losing in the playoffs to a more explosive Texans team specifically.
Oh, I mean, it's possible.
Yeah.
I mean, like when you have like Josh Allen's entire, like the best thing about him is that your pass rush tends to just not really work against him. And part of this is because the Bills have a knockdown tackle duo. But Josh Allen also just seems completely unfazed by anyone in his face. But there is, like having the Houston Texans elite edge rusher group is a way to mitigate that. Like Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter, and a really good secondary could definitely like fluster him pretty big. And I think there is a chance that just CJ Stroud, Nico Collins, all the rookies just out-duel the Bills. It's possible. But I think the Bills are a better team. So I would still go the Bills. I think Josh Allen can still take over any game that he's a part of. I don't know if Stroud can do that. Not really sure why it's Billy Beane's fault here. Or Brandon Beane. I keep saying Billy Beane, but yeah. He is Billy Beane. Yeah. I'm not entirely sure where his shortcomings come from. I mean, this is the same team as last season, so I don't know. If I really try and dig and break down, sure, I think there's a possibility that any team beats anybody. But no, I think the Bills are still the better team.
Yeah, I think I would assume the angle he's taking is like, oh, the Bills did nothing all offseason except extend their guys, and every other team got better. And now Brandon Beane is going to be put under the microscope after they lose in the wild card to the Texans or something. I don't know.
I don't think the Texans got that much better, but they have like the worst offensive line on paper you could possibly produce after one full offseason. So my Nick Caserio hate will still exist because of that. So
no.
It's still like you had a full offseason to improve a shitty line, and he's like, actually, let's make it worse.
Yeah, who cares? Who cares? Sometimes you just gotta let go. Just go with the flow. Take an alternative route.
Our quarterback took 60 sacks last season. Let's just get him sacked 70 times, and we're gonna toughen him up. It might not be our year. We're gonna get him tough for next season.
You know what? Everyone will be talking about the Nico Collins contract for the next 15 years. So someone will get extended in 2034, and then someone's going to tweet out, man, that Caserio contract that he figured out for Nico, it's one of the best out there. It's 14 years later. I feel like every time someone gets extended, that's what comes up. Someone's like, yeah, that Nico contract looks so much better now. It's
realistically, any good contract is just the player being team friendly. Like, it's not the GM working magic. It's just the players kind of yeah, I feel disrespected by your offer, but I like to be here. I like Stroud, so I'll stay. But or it's just your agent. Like if you're dealing with certain agents like T. Higgins' agent, he's going to be asking for big money all the time. But if it's some agents just want to see you happy, they don't give a shit. They're getting they're getting 100 million either way. They don't care.
Yeah, that's why.
I'm not giving Caserio all the credit for just Nico Collins being a team-friendly player.
Well, it comes up every time, and I find it to be pretty hilarious. The only thing I'd say about this is I do think it's possible the Bills lose to a team that is not Kansas City in the playoffs, and that will be considered a failure.
Yeah, I mean they've done it
with everybody. So
yeah, I mean we've seen it happen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when they played the Bengals a couple of years ago, it was uncompetitive, really. And they've gotten better. I think they've gotten to be a better team, but it's not like it's just the Chiefs. They've had issues where they've lost to other teams, and it's clearly the team is not a superpower. They have one superpower that is capable of overtaking any single game. So I get where it's coming from. He did fail to make it feel like Josh Allen has to do any less. That was kind of the whole hope going into this offseason is man, maybe we get another receiver. Maybe we find a way to make it feel like Josh Allen doesn't have to carry us every single game.
Mm-hmm.
But it still very much feels like that, and if not more. So I agree where it's coming from, for sure. But I still think that they are the number 3 team in the AFC to me, behind the Ravens and the Chiefs.
Yeah. They should be. I think it would be wrong to put them anywhere else until we see. The next category of takes are just a slew of fantasy football opinions
Oh boy.
that kind of slid in. So we'll start at the top with takes from Com Outlaw and Landon, both kind of intersecting. So Com Outlaw says CeeDee Lamb finishes as the wide receiver 1 in fantasy, and Landon follows that up by saying Lamb and Chase both score 400 plus points of fantasy this season, and CeeDee edges out Jamar for wide receiver 1.
I'm with it. I talked about it last episode. I think CeeDee Lamb leads the NFL in receptions this season. And he's just a year removed from having 1,700 yards with Dak Prescott last time they played a full season together. Like, CeeDee Lamb is a top 3 receiver in the NFL. And I don't believe it's actually close at all. I think he is far better than A.J. Brown and everyone below him. So I do believe like CeeDee Lamb is in that top 2 with Jamar and Jefferson. So with how good this passing offense can be and how desperate they're going to have to be to throw and get points because they can't run to get them, I'm with it. I think that that's a very well-spirited take.
I mean, without Micah, we could be looking at like 40-point games every week with this team. Like they're going to have to.
They are the Bengals last season. Like, it's the same squad. Like, terrible defense really across the board, but you have a good quarterback and 2 stud receivers, and we're just going to make it work. And I think their offensive line is good enough to help produce this. Like, I think everything around them supports a good passing offense. And when you look at who Dak loves, it is CeeDee Lamb. I don't think Pickens is taking all that much. I've talked about that before. I think CeeDee Lamb is going to eat. So I'm with it. I like that take.
I think Lamb. I've been struggling between whether or not I think Lamb sees more volume or if he sees less, because he's always been someone that sees a ton every year. So does that change just because there's someone else in the building, or does it open things up even more? I can't find myself leaning one way or the other.
What I think it does is maybe the percentages go a different way, but I think that there will just be, like, volume wise, more opportunities because I think that they will just be a better offense. They'll get more first downs. They'll just get more chances to keep throwing and scoring. Mm-hmm. So even if like he had like a 35% target share last season, goes down to 30, I think that they could just be on the offense 5% more than they were last season. So I wouldn't look at Pickens and think that this guy is threatening my fantasy football team at all if I have CeeDee Lamb.
No, I agree. I think it will be at the end of the day just a matter of Dak's health too. Like, I guess that could factor into it, but even still, Lamb was producing pretty well without Dak in the lineup the few times that he's had to deal with that. And that's kind of where the next take will segue in. So T-Ball said that he believes Puka Nacua is the first round fantasy bust. And I feel like that was targeted, but I will say I obviously think this is coming from Matthew Stafford's back and whether or not he's fully healthy and if he takes one hit. But at the same time, we have seen guys like CeeDee Lamb still be successful without the starting quarterback in the lineup. It's not as great, but it still isn't bad. The same thing can be said for Malik Neighbors is another great example. I don't see how people are so pro Malik Neighbors in the end of the first round when his quarterback situation is worse. He's also very injured himself. He's barely been practicing. But then Nacua has his 37-year-old quarterback with a backache, and everyone's like, oh, my God, we cannot draft Puka anymore. It's like, why is it any different than Neighbors, for example?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Stetson Bennett, like, he might not translate to winning football, but I feel like he can definitely translate to production. Like, he's not a quarterback where you don't think that he can't execute an offense, because I think he can. I think his issues would be turnovers and dumb plays and stuff like that, but I definitely don't think the issue would be a failure to get Puka the ball. So I feel confident that, one, I'm not in the business of predicting injuries. I'm not going to say I think Stafford gets hurt because I don't know, but he's played through injuries his entire career. I don't see why he doesn't do it again the year before he likely retires. And additionally, like, I do think Puka is almost as QB safe as it gets. Like he gets a lot of his yards through quick out route concepts, quick ins, screens. Like he's not relying on beautiful deep balls to get him his points. Like he can get them any way he wants. So I'm not that worried.
Agreed. Yeah, he is one of those guys that gets manufactured work constantly. And that's why he's as valuable as he is, because he is the guy in a Sean McVay offense. So there really isn't many other positions for a player to be successful that is better than that. The next take comes from Jonathan King 13. He says that Caleb Williams and Drake Maye both finish in the top 12 quarterback rankings.
Like fantasy
rankings?
Yeah. I can see that. I mean, there's definitely a like statistical like boom that you can see out of both of those guys. Like Maye, they finally brought in some weapons. They got a better offensive line. Caleb Williams, we've talked about it, the Ben Johnson thing and the ridiculous weapons they got. And I think that there's also a pretty solid rushing floor and ceiling for both of these guys. Like you could tell me they both get 8 rushing touchdowns, and I wouldn't be that shocked. I think they're both very capable of it. I think that like there'll be enough passing volume and rushing volume from them both to be really good fantasy football players. I have them both, so I hope so.
Wait, in a super flex league?
I mean, I'm in a million leagues, so
yeah,
like fair. just in general, I happen to have both of them over the course of like my 10 leagues that I'm in, but still, it is the fact that I just do think that they're really good.
I have both in a super flex league, so it's funny you say.
Oh,
yeah, I tanked my first year of a dynasty league the year before they came into the NFL. And I got them both. So.
Nice.
And then they banned tanking. So I lucked out.
How can you ban tanking?
It was bad. Like it was bad.
What if I think Trey Benson's going to be really good this week? Like what if I happen to think that Wan'Dale Robinson will be a really good start this week. I think Terry McLaurin will get shut down. Like, that's just how I'm going to operate this tank. It'll be a hidden tank.
No, it was not a hidden tank. It was just like fully exposed operation. If they launched an investigation into the tanking scandal, they would have probably found the results in 15 minutes because there was no secrets that I was hiding.
Were you putting in like Jordan Westerkamp at receiver?
It was bad.
You got Jordan Shipley and God, who know else? Just
playing like AJ Dillon.
Hey, he could blow up at any point.
Oh man, I was fighting my case. I said, it's my team. I'm just managing my team, man. Like, what do you want?
Yeah, he's a goal line back. I mean, he could fall into the end zone twice in the same game pretty easily. Give me 12 points. That's what I want.
Oh man,
don't tell me what to do with my team.
Well, Sam also says something that is very bold. He says that Justin Jefferson, Saquon Barkley, and Devon Achane are this year's fantasy first round busts. Very strong language here.
Fair. I mean, and there's only one thing that I think could derail all three, and that's injury. And with Saquon, it's the projected injury because he had 500 touches last season. And people are acting like that's not a factor into this next season. And Justin Jefferson and Achane are both dealing with their own injuries. Neither seem super severe. Neither seem like they are going to really affect them. But, I mean, we've seen it with CMC. We've seen it before. Guys like Jonathan Taylor, like when you start the year injured, it's pretty hard to get healthy throughout the year. You don't get healthier playing football. So there is a chance that, it does linger. And they are risky, but at the same time, all three are absolute studs when they're healthy. So it's just an injuries game, and I'm not really one for predicting those.
Yeah, to say all three, I mean, there's usually maybe one. There's one, maybe two, but to say those three specifically, that's a bold take. That's almost like I'm just hating. That's a hater take, honestly.
Kind of is. I mean, Jefferson's the safest fantasy football play ever, every single year. There is no player that is their offense more than he is their offense. It's just the injury. Literally, that's it. Even if McCarthy sucks, he'll do it with Sean Mannion out there. It doesn't matter.
Man. If there's anybody that's proven to be QB proof, it's that guy.
Literally, top 10 receiver of all time when it's all said and done. But still, it's literally just injury. I can't predict that.
Right. The last fantasy take comes from the kid. He says, hot take, Trevor Lawrence goes for 4,000 yards, throws 30 touchdowns, and
Ooh.
finishes in the top 8 fantasy quarterbacks.
Dude, I'm in. I'm in. I've loved every part of like Trevor Lawrence process. It's just the results have not been there. And part of the reason you could say they weren't there is one, they had Urban Meyer out there who was kicking his kickers in the legs and getting rubbed up on by girls in Columbus. But also, like it was like Christian Kirk was at best a role player in Arizona. And then they brought him in to be the receiver one. Evan Ingram was a role player in New York. They brought him in to be the focal point of their offense. Like now that they have Brian Thomas Jr., Travis Hunter, who was my wide receiver one in the offseason, and Liam Cohen, who is finally the first, in my opinion, good play caller Trevor Lawrence has had, even before hindsight. Like I never thought that Press Taylor was going to be a difference maker in Jacksonville. Like they have all three. They have everything that they need to do. Trevor Lawrence looks good when things around him look good. I'm in. I think he's going to be awesome.
Trevor Lawrence is another guy in kind of like a make or break type of position.
Yes.
But unlike a guy like Jordan Love, I feel a lot more trust in Trevor Lawrence specifically compared to Love that he's going to pull through. I think Lawrence he's not only dealt with coaching struggles or supporting cast issues, but that's another guy that just is always hurt. Like it definitely is something that, some guys are just always hurt, and that is something you can point to and say, that's why I don't like that player, because he can't stay on the field or he's not able to be 100% when I need him to be. But that's something that's definitely derailed him a lot as well, just not being able to play full seasons. And hopefully this year he finally stays on the field. He plays a full 17 games after a full off season with this new regime. I don't see how I can leave this year feeling pessimistic, especially because the expectations for the team overall are not that crazy. Like the Packers, on the other hand, it's like, oh my God, now they should be potentially Super Bowl candidates, but the Jaguars are not in that boat whatsoever. So as long as Lawrence himself doesn't look like an absolute fucking train wreck, we should leave this year feeling pretty optimistic about Trevor Lawrence in that group.
Agreed.
So we'll move on to our expectations category. This is pretty much the last one. And it's just a slew of more takes that I guess are miscellaneous, to be honest with you. They just aren't consistent with each other, so I threw them all together.
Deal.
So another team take. DOA says the Texans are AFC Championship contenders.
Contenders? Sure. Like I feel like that was soft. I feel like you should have said they're the AFC Championship winner. Yeah. And I would respect the take more. But if we're just like, hey, I think this good team has a chance to be good, I'd be like, okay, well, yeah. They're contenders for it, sure. I mean, they won a playoff game last year. I mean, they can definitely contend for that. But sure, I think that's super fair. I think that the only glaring issue, like I've said before, and which is why I will beat up Nick Caserio if I see him in person ever, is because he has done malpractice to that offensive line. But the weapons, the quarterback, everywhere on defense, the kicker, the coaches, everything looks good. So I think that that's very much a contender.
It reminds me, this weekend, one of my friends did a birth chart reading, and it's one of these people that just try to tell you what your personality traits are, or they'll ask you questions and you're like, you're this or you're that, astrology shit. I don't know. I don't believe in any of that at all. I think it's a bunch of phooey. But she's sitting there. The first question she's asked is, so you either like to travel or you don't? And I'm thinking that you do, or whatever she says. She's like, no, not really. And I'm sitting there thinking, obviously she either likes to travel or she doesn't. You're either one or the other. It's the same thing for the Texans. It's a good team's a contender, obviously. Thank you. Thank you for telling me that this good team is a contender. Thank you for telling me if I like to travel or not.
I think you get nervous when you give speeches. Oh my God, I do. You know me. I'm a Gemini.
Literally, bro. Oh my God, the worst one was
it just doesn't make Like, we got to stop being cowards with some of these takes. We need to be all the way in.
I know.
And I'll respect it more. Like, if you're like, I think that Kyron Williams will run for 1,700 yards this season, I'll be like, hell yes. I see it. I love it. But if you're like, I think that Chase Brown rushes for 950 yards this season, I'll be like, okay, well, yeah, he did it last year. Like, awesome. It's not a take. We need
Right.
takes.
I know. We need
That's
something
that's why
like,
even all of like the rough takes that have been in here, I still appreciate them. I always try to find a way to say I could see it because like I appreciate a hot take. The Cardinals look good there. Like, they might win a playoff game. Sure, that could be fun. They have the dogs to do it. Like, it could be fun, but I'm gonna up the ante a little bit.
yeah, I'd rather have to find a way to see it through than
Yes.
sit there and say, yeah, all right. Like,
Unless it's just like an unpopular opinion, but like, this is the team that's like by far projected to win their division, and they won a playoff game last year, and I think they got a little bit better. So, I mean, yeah, they're definitely a contender.
also, something to note: there is an eclipse happening, a small one, very soon, and it's going to drastically change the trajectory of people's lives. Just wanted to
Yes,
put that out there.
I'm gonna be moody tomorrow.
Yes, right.
I'm moody every day, but I'm definitely gonna be moody tomorrow.
Oh man, all right. I feel bad. No, we just ripped into that take. It's all right. We're just honest.
But it's a good take. Like yeah, it's gonna happen. Like, it's not like we're saying you dummy. Like, hell no.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's gonna happen. It's just like, obviously.
Well, the next one is from Chase Moe, and this is something that I even said when we kind of had our own hot takes episode, and he says, hot take, the Giants win like 6 or 7 games. And this was what we talked about. 5.5 is their line, at least last I checked. And I do think there is a way they get over that hump.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing though. Like, I think I'm gonna get hot right here. I think they can win 6 games. Like, it's not that hot. Their line's 5. Like, they gotta win one more. Like,
to be fair, like, I think people think of the Giants and they're like 2-win team. They hear New York Giants and they're suddenly like,
no way.
I think they do, and then they think like, oh my god, that's schedule. That's the thing with the Giants right now. Oh, their schedule this year is so hard. Like, yeah, we know that, but there still could be nuance to it. Just because it's hard doesn't mean they can't win a game or steal a game or two. So
yeah, I mean, with that defense, you have a floor, and I mean, if people are projecting the Giants 2 wins, that's pretty nuts. I mean, they'll hold somebody to 10 and they'll score 12. Like, it's like that happens all the time, even against really good squads. So yeah, I think that would definitely be pretty dramatic. I think 5 was a good line, and I remember saying this is a 6-2-7 win team. Not being clipped again. Stop. It's the dumbest shit I've ever seen. But I think they are in that range of a squad. So to think that they could win that many games, I don't think that's even that hot of a take. Like, their line is 5. Yeah, they can win 6. The line's
5.5. 5.5.
I think they can win 6. Sure. Like, I agree. I think they definitely could win 6 or 7.
All right, I'll leave it. We'll just go right on. The next take we have, this one is from Stranger. He says, the San Francisco 49ers win about 13 or 14 games in the regular season, and they lose in the Super Bowl.
Lose in the God. I would kill myself if I had to watch them lose again in the Super Bowl. I'll stay on I like this take, and I think they lose to the Chiefs again. I think we're just gonna like make every resident of San Francisco just like despise Kansas City more than they already do. It feels like we're due for that, doesn't it? Like, I feel like we're due for another like Chiefs 49ers Super Bowl. It just feels
I thought
right.
about it. Like when we were making our episode doing all that, I was sitting there thinking like, could the 49ers find a way back to that game? And if the tournament plays out where they're getting easier matchups in, maybe the wild card, they're going to have to win a tough game along the way somewhere. But I think there's definitely a way that they get like, I don't know, the Vikings somewhere in there. And I think they could beat the Vikings. I think they could maybe they don't beat the
100%.
Packers now, but like
I think they still can. I mean, they have their own version of it in Nick Bosa, like who hasn't been at his best, but at Nick Bosa's best, he was playing like Micah. Like, maybe not to the same 100th degree, but he was at 97% of that. Like Nick Bosa in his peak was putting up 18 sacks, 18 and a half sacks, elite run defender. He was a beast. And then you also have guys like Fred Warner and some other really nice playmakers on offense like CMC. And if IU can get back healthy and George Kittle and Purdy, like this is an awesome squad as long as the thing stays healthy and the guys that are hurt get healthy quick. So I think that the wins thing went too far. I don't think they're quite a 13 to 14 win team because of all the injuries that currently exist. But I do think that they're good enough to get back to a Super Bowl. I think that they are a good enough kryptonite to Philly. I think that they could be the Philly Killers.
They do feel like, I mean, they used to be the team that was the superpower. They were loaded everywhere and in every spot on the field. But now they're kind of more like the team we were kind of alluding to earlier. They're kind of weaker overall, but they have a few stars that are enough.
Yeah.
And I've talked about it before too, like McCaffrey and Purdy and Shanahan are enough, like to make that offense be efficient as it was in the glory days. So I don't think it's insane. I think they'd probably be a good value bet to make the Super Bowl, to be quite honest with you. So I don't think that take is crazy at all.
It's not that crazy.
The last two more, actually. The second last one is from Ribsy. He says, Michael Penix is a bust. Falcons get third in the division behind Panthers and Bucks.
All right. I think it's already.
This is what you asked for.
I love these. But I do feel like calling someone a bust after like a single 1 year of like play is definitely pretty rich. Yeah. I feel like busts should only be determined at their second contract. Like when they get to that second contract and people like Zach Wilson, like he finally went to a second contract and they're like, damn, like you're not getting paid, man. But even if you're like someone like Darnold, there was still a hope for him. Like he got traded for decent value and now he's back and people labeled Darnold a bust for a long time. And now he's like a legitimately talented quarterback. So people definitely label that way too early. And I feel like he played good enough last season to kind of already negate the bust allegations. So I definitely don't know about a bust. And I think that they're closer to winning their division than coming in third. But I mean, I people love the Panthers. So sure, put them over. I think the Falcons, I'm going to think for a second, and I'm going to argue the Falcons are better at literally every single position outside of like defensive tackle. Right tackle now because Caleb McGrary got hurt, but like running back, receiver, tight end. I would say their offensive line was better when McGrary was there. I would take their edge rushers. I would take their linebackers, their corners, and their safeties.
I think JC Horn alone is probably enough to make me like their corner room more than
it's cool. I don't think AJ Terrell's that far off.
No.
Plus, the depth of the other guys that they have, I think I like their depth better.
Yeah, it's depth versus star power.
And then like the DBs, like AJ, like Jesse Bates comes in and just like is better than any Panther safety ever.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I feel like they're better literally everywhere. Except maybe quarterback, like Bryce Young, the Michael Penix. We have a lot of unknowns there. I'm only confidently giving the Panthers defensive tackle. It's the only one.
Yeah, no, I don't think that should even be debatable, to be quite honest. I would say they are closer to finishing. They're closer to winning their division than they are to third. But that's not because I think they're good. I think that's more so because the Panthers are just that bad and the Saints are just that bad. So
the Saints weren't even in this conversation.
No.
Like Panthers, I can see the appeal a little bit. Like Bryce Young's fun, Ted McMillan's fun. They got young guys everywhere, but the Saints, not with Rattler.
Leave them alone.
Maybe with Shuck, but not with Rattler.
No.
With neither of them. With neither of them. Nussmeier, first overall.
Yes, Garrett Nussmeier. Or, oh my God, what's that Cal quarterback's name? I gotta get his
The
JKS.
the true freshman.
Yeah, the 18-year-old JKS. I called him earlier.
Honestly,
I think that's his name.
I think that might have been like it was awesome for him, but it also sucks because now he's going to be under a microscope for like the next like 3 seasons of his career. And he's going to get a bunch of hype, and then he'll have a few bad games, and people will shit on him all over the place. Like, it's almost more fun when you can just start with like humble beginnings and like slowly work your way up, and like you don't have a bunch of media hype, and then later people find your tape and they're like, wow, this guy's really good right before the draft. But when you start super hot, it creates these like super annoying expectations you have to keep up with all year long. And then he has 3 years total, so it was awesome. It was an amazing debut, but just kind of like he's gonna have to stay on it now. But that's awesome. It's an awesome opportunity for sure.
It is. It's fun. It just is like, he's literally 18. Like,
yeah, he had some of the best deep throws he had multiple of the best deep throws of the entire college slate. Like all of Saturday, he probably had my top 5 favorite throws, but I know for a fact he's going to be getting Tua Tagovailoa comps because he's a left-hander and his name's hard to pronounce.
Yep, literally. Well, the last take comes from Sam. He says the tackles and interception statistic will both be led by rookies at the end of the season.
Who said this?
Sam.
That's fair. And I feel like part of this can also come from the fact that I have and you have hammered home the fact that like Malachi Starks will be the interception leader. And I think where he might be going with this is Carson Schlesinger might be the tackle leader, which is fair because, I mean, you saw in his debut against the Panthers ones, he was in on almost literally every single tackle on the first drive. Like he had 6 tackles in 2 drives. And he's looked good in literally every facet of the offseason. And I have not heard a single bad word or grade about him anywhere. So I do agree. I think that Schlesinger has a good chance to be the tackle leader after just 1 year. And I think Starks has the chance to be the interceptions leader after just 1 year.
I think having both led by a rookie that would be crazy. I think
it would be, but I see a vision though.
I see it. The tackle thing that's a tough one for me to get behind because there are so many just like tackles. It's one of those statistics that you don't really hear much about. You don't really pay much attention to, but there are guys that rack up numbers here, like names that you don't hear about too often. And they are just machines when it comes to producing in this category. So
it's almost scheme based. Like there are just some schemes, like for a fact, whatever middle linebacker is playing for the Colts is going to get 180 tackles a season. Like Jair Franklin, if it's DeQuell Jackson back in the day, like it is going to be 150 tackles every single season, no matter what. And I feel like the Browns have kind of been like that, honestly. Like they've kind of always had high volume tackle guys. So I think it's very possible. Very possible.
I like it. Another somewhat, I won't even say somewhat. Another actual like layered take.
But it's good.
We've had a few non-layered. Poor bro. All right. Well, poor guy. We get it. We're just gonna rip on that forever. Well, we will wrap it up there. That's all the takes we have, and this will kind of conclude like the off season. This is the final episode until it all revs up. So the next time we will be talking, we will be predicting week 1 of the NFL season. So very exciting time. So be sure you guys are sticking around for that come later in the week. But as always, if you enjoyed, like, comment, share, subscribe. Be sure you're in the Discord down in the description below. And we will see you for week 1 in episode 60.